Thank you all for coming tonight. How many of you all have children?
I do.
3. Actually 4, Dad. How many of you or your children have had jobs before the age of 16?
I have.
All 5. How many of your children or you had to get a worker's permit before you applied for a job?
I did.
4. Okay. According to the International Labor Organization, roughly 215 million children across the world between the ages of 15 and 17 are involved in child labor. And child labor is defined as work that harms a child or keeps them out of school instead of furthering their education, mostly grade school, like elementary, middle, and high school. And it also exposes the children to violence, abuse, exploitation, and it's a very harsh work condition. Today, I hope to persuade you all that child labor is a real issue, that it's not just an issue of the past, that it is in today's society. It is in the U.S. today, as well as third world countries. First, I'll discuss that every child does have a right to be protected, and then I'll discuss how building a protective environment for children will help reduce child labor. And lastly, I'll discuss what actions we can take individually to help reduce child labor. Every child has a right to be protected. However, all across the world, children are being forced into child labor, into dangerous, harmful, abusive, harsh conditions, probably some conditions that none of us could ever imagine, even if we hate our jobs. According to the International Labor Organization, as I said before, roughly 215 million children between the ages of 5 and 17 are involved in child labor now. These children are forced into child labor are mainly those who come from extremely poor families, or those who are vulnerable, or people who live on the streets, just don't have anywhere to go. They have no money, so they have to drop out of school and help their families by making money. Child labor affects not just a child physically and mentally, but it also doesn't help them. It harms them both in the short term and the long term. It impairs their ability to socialize and learn, and it also impacts them further on in life as they transition from a child or a teenager to adulthood. Every child has that right to be protected from such harsh working conditions and working before the minimum work age. It's important that each child or each country build a protective environment for children to grow up in. Building that protective environment, especially for those kids who are vulnerable to child labor, is an extremely important way to help reduce child labor. Governments are number one way to help reduce it. They can do so by helping assist the poverty-stricken families by allowing one or both parents in a situation to earn enough money, whether it be by just helping them out getting side jobs or getting food stamps, to make sure they can support their family so the child doesn't have to go out and help earn wages for the family. Governments can also implement and support the fair trade or labeling incentives, such as that's an easy way to make sure that companies are actually following the basic labor standards and they're actually paying their employees the fair wages and allowing their families to actually meet the basic living needs without having their kids go off to work. Governments also can campaign for institutions to adopt and enforce code of compliances. Pressure from the human rights groups, this is an example. Pressure from human rights groups, consumers, and international trade unions led the group overseeing the World Cup, FIFA, to adopt a code in 1998 stating it would cease using soccer balls made with child labor. The Olympics in Australia in 2000, they also did the same thing. Australian labor trade union, or Labor Federation or something. They actually came up with an agreement with the Olympic Committee and made the Olympic Committee sign, saying that they wouldn't support any child labor. And another main way is promoting education. Helps also reduce child labor. And promoting education and the access to it is the fundamental strategy for ending child labor. Building a protective environment for a child is a way to reduce child labor universally, yet there are ways us as individuals can help reduce it as well. There are many ways we can help reduce it, but some of the simple, easiest ways I think are you can help support organizations such as UNICEF. You can donate to them, who UNICEF is known worldwide as one of the biggest humanitarian organizations. At birth, have all children registered. And also raising awareness not only just brings light to the issue, it also it brings an effect to people's attitudes as well. In conclusion, child labor is not just an issue of the past, it's an issue today that's still affecting many. I hope that you guys have learned something about child labor and that you can take away how important this issue is. And lastly, I thank you all for your time and attention.